All right, I'm back, brother. How you doing?
Do you want me to take you through each little bit, or?
Yeah. Tell me what
Yeah,
you experienced in real time, and then I want to talk to you like tomorrow or the next day, just to see how it permeates over the next 48 hours.
yeah, definitely, man, definitely. So, firstly, I think it's important to mention that I only woke up a few hours ago.
Okay.
That's just because I'm doing my rituals for my clients and so on and so forth. So I was feeling a bit tired, feeling a bit groggy, as if I didn't have my morning coffee, so to speak.
Yeah.
But right now, I feel like I've been in a cold shower, blasted with cold water, and I'm wide fucking awake. So I can probably forget about sleeping tonight.
Yeah, you probably
However,
ain't gonna sleep much if this worked. You should
yeah,
be pretty fucking wired for a while.
yeah. So I got into my regular relaxation asana, I suppose, or posture. And what I do is I keep my fingers sort of like this, like crossed like this, and I just had this on my lap. And as you kept going with this, as you kept opening the dice on, and as you get moving forward, I could feel almost like my fingers were magnetized in the beginning, almost like I couldn't pull them apart whatsoever. And so I just entered into sort of a light state, just focusing on my breathing and getting a sense of my own energy pattern before you begun, just so I can sense the alterations as we progress forward.
Yeah.
And I noticed my energy started moving like just like a wave, just like normal, like side to side. But as you started moving forward, I could feel almost like a pulsation, like coming from my crown down to my feet. And this started very subtly in the beginning, but as you kept going forward and as you kept going on, it seemed to actually increase in speed, almost as if something was being funneled directly above me, down below, and just bouncing like a fucking hockey, like where you have the hockey puck going up and down.
Yeah.
And I started noticing a raise in bodily temperature, which is quite odd, because considering it's only in my hands to begin with, it was sort of like in the space of my hands and then sort of emanating outwards. And as I was moving forward, I tried to keep my mind clear. I didn't want to visualize anything. I wanted to just be in a receptive state.
Yeah.
But behind the blackness of my eyelids, I could just see this tiny dot of light. And in the beginning, I thought it was the light right here. So I kind of like tried to ignore it after a while, and it just started to expand and started expanding subtly, not hugely, but subtly. And it was almost like a radiant purple. And so I just don't make any assumptions, and you kept going along. And as you were adding each thing into the gateway, I assume, I could feel sort of like I don't know where you intended this gateway to open, but I could feel almost like a vacuum in my solar plexus area. So like in the core of my being. So I was feeling something coming from above, but almost like a vacuum sensation in my stomach area, in that region.
Yeah.
And the funniest thing though, and I was trying to maintain it, was as I was sitting here, I could feel like at the very bottom of my spine, sort of that tailbone region. I could feel almost like a vibration, but it wasn't a spiritual vibration. It was an actual physical vibration. To the point where my legs were slowly starting to shake, and my ass is actually shaking on the seat, and I'm trying to maintain. Also, like someone sort of vibrated up me, and so I'm trying to maintain that. I'm trying to slow that down. I was like, calm down, calm down. And as this kept happening, it was like involuntary, like sort of like little bits of bodily movements coming here and there. And I was trying to catch my breath, trying to stay on the same breathing rhythm, but I couldn't, man. It was just, I was being told directly into what you were doing. And I was just allowing that to overtake me in the end. I was sort of seeing this as sort of like a force coming towards me. And instead of trying to resist, I went with it. And that's where the light in my inner vision just in the end expounded completely against my vision, almost as if my eyes were open. But yeah, as if someone put this light right in front of my eyes. I couldn't see anything. That's why actually halfway through, I had to open my eyes, literally right here. And I still couldn't see anything, even with my eyes open. I can tell you though that the more and more you kept doing it, the more and more I could feel a definite increase in energy. And it was almost as if almost like I suppose my airways were starting to open up, because I could feel it like going through my airways, starting to open up. And my spine, I started like this, really relaxed, I was slouched, but my spine started straightening up more and more and more, which is actually very difficult for me. And I was surprised I could do it, because I was born with scoliosis in my spine, not severely, but I have a difficulty straightening my spine. But during that, didn't seem a problem whatsoever. So there were definitely visual phenomena going on, I suppose, even with my eyes open. Definitely felt an increase in vibration, that's for sure. And definitely sensed the energy that you were opening up to me. Now, I didn't notice anything immediately in my aura. I was just focusing on myself. But as we started going right to the end of it, I could feel, I think it must have been when you've done the actual sacrifice itself. At that point, I could just feel, yeah, like all of this just wasn't being directed into me anymore. There was like almost like a vortex, like just encircling me. And that was moving at the same momentum as that fluctuation within my own being, as if everything within me was brought into an alignment, just for whatever you were funneling to me, everything was aligning perfectly within my own being. Just like you would take a triangle manifestation and you would state that all the elements and all the energies are required to bring forth this spirit. It felt like you, the sorcerer, was doing that to me. And at that moment, I was the triangle being rearranged with all the correct and intended energies.
Oh, that's fucking awesome, dude. And this candle is actually seated on your solar plexus on your picture. Like that's where the center of the daizan was, and I put the candle in the center of it. So that's pretty cool. I theorized that, like, if I wanted to target like certain chakras with this, like if I had a full body picture, then I could draw it, the daizan, the center on their head or their chest or their groin, things like that. But no, that's really cool. That sounds like genuine, honest feedback, and it sounds like it had an effect in real time. Like, I mean, you could actually feel the energy coming into you while I was doing it.
Yeah. So in the beginning, like I said, I just noticed my own energy fluctuating, like back and forth, back and forth. So I was allowing myself to be susceptible in a way to the energy outside of myself and within myself. And I wanted to do that beforehand, just because I didn't want to mistake any energy that was being funneled into me for my own energy fluctuation.
Yeah.
And over the years, I've become great at doing that. And I sense my own energy. I was like, okay, that's good. That's fine. That's what I'm working with. And then as you progressing, my ass is shaking, my body's shaking. I'm like, okay, this is different. This is definitely different. So yeah, definitely real time felt energy. And like you said, this is only the beginning. So if this had that sort of effect while you were doing it, I'm very interested to see what tomorrow is going to be like, or for the rest of the day for me, really,
Yeah. I mean, that's really what I'm trying to do here. Okay. Because we've got all these different techniques for spell casting and things like that have been laid out for us, by those who came before us. And what I've noticed with magic, with doing spells on people, like there's usually like a delayed reaction. Like for instance, baneful magic, you could do a curse on somebody. It might take them a year to die in a car wreck or something. I've noticed with healing magic, healing is a bit more instantaneous for some reason. That's probably to do with me, because honestly, I don't like hurting people. I don't like doing baneful magic. That's like something that I do if I fucking have to. And there's always a part of me in the back of my mind that wishes I didn't have to harm that person. So I think that has a lot to do with my internal shit as to why there's such a delayed reaction with that. But whenever I'm trying to like heal somebody or deify somebody, empower them, it's like I feel good about what I'm doing, and I'm like my emotions and thoughts are married at that point. It's like when your thoughts marry your emotions, that's a metaphor. When they match your emotions, that's when you perform miracles and shit. So
Oh yeah.
What I'm trying to do with developing these new techniques is to figure out ways to get rid of the delayed time reaction, to get an instantaneous effect, something that can be felt in real time. And that's why I wanted to do this experiment live with you in real time just to see if there were any immediate energetic effects or fluctuations or sensations, anything like that. And you know, like I said, I mean, this spell is active until this candle burns down and touches the water, you know, and at that point it will be done, and then I will probably put this into fire. You know, that's typically how I would end these operations, is I will take this outside and pour all the contents into a large fire, you know, as opposed to just throwing them in the garbage or something. It just seems more clean and sensible to burn them. But no, that's really cool, man. And I can't wait to like hear from you like tomorrow and, you know, 3 days from now, and see what the effects are. Because I've noticed with the deification, right, like there's like just about everybody feels something instantaneously. Like they will wake up the next day feeling the energy, feeling, you know, some type of effect from that. And I noticed that like at least for doing it for myself, it takes about 3 days for that process to fully complete, like that, for that energy to fully transfer into a person's physical body and for them to absorb the 100% of the benefit. There's like a time delay, you know. And so like with this vacuum gateway, that's essentially what I was trying to do, is to open a gateway directly into you so that you could feel this as I was doing it. It sounds like that worked, at least at least for I mean the most part.
Yeah, I mean, what's interesting is, you know, like you said, you put it over the solar plexus region, and then I felt that in my solar plexus. I mean, so see what you're doing is very interesting, because if you can target it like that, well, and obviously it seems as if that's the case right now. You know, you're targeting it in the exact point. Then this can be applied for numerous reasons. Like you said, with healing, or even if you were using it in a painful implement, I suppose, or painful situation, you could target specific energy centers, you know, and then have a direct route to do something instantaneously and transfer that instantaneously. So yeah, like I said, there was this vacuum sensation in my solar plexus, and that seems to be what it is. So yeah, that's interesting. Like you said, most interesting.
Oh yeah. So let me ask you this. I mean, have the sensations stopped for now? Like now that I've stopped performing the spell, or do you still feel any type of energetic fluctuations?
I must definitely still feel those fluctuations. I suppose it's right now. It's you know, you being a magician yourself. As soon as we end a ritual and we come back to normal waking full consciousness,
Yeah.
you can still feel the energies around you, but not as intensely when you're immersed into it. You know, you sort of bring yourself back to those mundane states of awareness. But even right now, as I'm talking, I can feel that still subtle fluctuation inside of me. And I think what it is mostly that I'm not focused that intensely on it right now. And I'm trying to engage in this conversation, but still, like I'm saying, in the background, I'm still feeling that, you know. And like you said, I think as this progresses over time, it's only going to be even more intense, I suppose.
No, that's cool. That's cool. And like I said, I anticipate that 3 days from now you will receive the full effect from this, whatever that might be. Or you might have received the full effect already. We won't know until some time has passed and you see how you feel. But like I said, you know, these batteries are still hooked into this water. It's still electrified. This gateway is still open. And like I said, there's fresh blood and all these implements in this water. And
What's I think what's really interesting here, and I'm sorry to cut in, but now you bring up the fact of the water and the electricity. I suppose that's the best sensation I can use to describe sort of what was going on down there at my tailbone region. It literally did feel almost like a electrical sensation, you know. So I find that interesting that you've implemented electricity into that. I mean, our own biology, you know, we have electrical energy within us. So that could have been, I'm not making any assumptions here, but that could have been also what I was experiencing too.
well, I mean, that's kind of my theory, you know, like we're electrical beings, you know, like our brain is constantly firing electrical impulses that tell our nerves and everything what to do in our bodies. And so I figured, you know, I started thinking about it. I'm like, well, okay, so as far as magical power, you know, when a sorcerer sits down and does something like this, he's feeding power into it, his own energy. Well, that's got to be similar to electricity if we're electrical beings. So I thought, hey, by hooking some 9-volt batteries into this water and electrifying it, then it should amplify whatever the fuck it is I'm doing, you know? So no, that's really cool, man. Like I said, I really appreciate you getting on and doing this with me. And yeah, if you wouldn't mind here in the next day or two, like we'll just jump back on and you tell me how you feel, you know, 2 or 3 days later
Yeah.
after this, because I want to compare this to the results that I get from the deification rite, which you've not experienced that, have you? At least not
No.
for me.
I performed the actual deification rite for others, like, because before me and you started talking, you know, I read the Anthology of Sorcery, and I did see the deification rite, and I performed that myself once with a friend, and my friend performed it for me. So I had experienced it with another person, but I've never experienced you do anything like that personally. But yeah, man, must definitely jump back on and discuss what I've been feeling, and yeah, give you a review on it, you know.
Fuck yeah, dude. No, that sounds awesome. That sounds awesome. And then, based on what you're telling me so far, I think we might have discovered like a new technique here, you know. And if this affects you long term in a similar way to the deification rite, then you know this could actually be akin to that, you know, because I'm making a sacrifice to you. You know, I'm just, instead of pulling you out of body, I'm just transferring the energy directly into you. And so, yeah, I want to see which one's more effective, or if they're both the same, or whatever that goes. Because a lot of people, most people cannot build a bonfire in their backyard and chop the head off a rooster in a black magic ritual like the deification rite without having like a mob of angry, bloodthirsty Christians trying to burn them at the stake. You know, so I mean, if we could customize the deification rite, you know, in a way to where it could be performed indoors in a more simplistic way like this, then that would be like a whole new technique, a whole new fucking type of spell casting that we could put out for people to learn. And you know, this has a baneful application too. Obviously, if I were to be putting your baneful elixir into this water, along with like some evil powders and shit like that, then it would have the same effect, only it would be a bad effect instead of a good effect. You know, everything that I offered in here is like a beneficial thing, you know, like you're talking about, you felt like vibration, you know, rose oil is supposed to raise our vibration like 100 times just by putting it on our bodies and stuff like that. You know, and I've got Aphrodite's healing elixir that was made by Elias Levion, which seems to be really potent. We might actually offer that on our website here soon, because Elias is she's a badass up and comer. Like, she's coming up with some really cool, or they are coming up with some really cool shit. So yeah, I figured, you know, as I was going through the house, I'm like, okay, what do I want to offer into this, you know, for a beneficial thing? So naturally, I use slut water, because that's like really the most powerful elixir that I've ever come across. And I'm not saying that because my wife Barbie made it. I really am impressed with her, and I respect her like so much more as a magician and a practitioner after utilizing that. It was entirely her creation. You know?
I agree.
So I figured, you know, like, top it off with a blood sacrifice, and at that point, I'm putting as much power and energy into this as I possibly can. And really, the only determining factor as to whether or not this is successful is whether or not this gateway is effective, whether or not I can effectively connect to you through this, you know. And so, I mean, this is really easy to do. You know, you draw the Daizan on a picture, write their name on the back of it, open it, and put this together. You know, anybody can do this shit. So, fuck yeah, man, this was a lot of fun. I appreciate you coming on and being willing to be a guinea pig for this.
Yeah.
Not many people would be willing to let a psychotic hillbilly sorcerer experiment on them, you know. So I really appreciate you trusting me to do that. And like I said, I think this is going to be 100% beneficial.
Of course, man. Of course, yeah. You know, I appreciate you asking, and I really like what you're doing. You know, because I'm doing the same thing myself, seeing what works, taking what works, how to combine various methods, and how to implement that to have the best success possible. Like you said, like a mad scientist, you know, and I think that's an accurate description for you. So
Yeah.
yeah, awesome.
Well, I mean, that's really what we are. We're scientists. You know, this is science, obviously. I mean, yeah, there's some mystical, magical aspects to it that can't be explained by science, but really everything we just did here is a science experiment, you know? And I really think anybody could do it. So yeah, I mean, it's the effectiveness of the techniques and your tools. You know, so if you can effectively open a gateway within someone, then like I said, anything you want to put in here or roast over this candle gets transferred to them. And it can be for beneficial or harmful reasons. Or I mean, you could do a love spell like this. You could do anything with this technique if it's effective. So yeah, I'll follow up with you here in a couple of days and see how you're doing. And if you tell me you're doing great, you're feeling awesome, and it's a noticeable effect, you know, versus how you were today before we did this, then yeah, I think we got a brand new technique here that's gonna, you know, I won't say it's gonna revolutionize anything, but it'll certainly open the doors for a lot more practitioners to do stuff like this.
Well, if it does work, I wouldn't go, you know, I actually would say it would revolutionize it, because you're cutting the manifestation down by many, many fractal pieces. You know, there's no delay time. If this actually does work, this could create some really, real instantaneous magic. So yeah, that would be revolutionary, man, most definitely.
Fuck yeah, man. Well, I appreciate you being a part of it. I appreciate you coming on here and let me do this crazy ass experiment on you and giving me accurate feedback. And yeah, I hope I hear from you in a day or two and you're like, fuck yeah, I'm awesome, dude. I'm doing great, because everything about this was designed to empower and strengthen you. You know. And,
I appreciate it.
Yeah, I can't wait to see what the long term effects are if the short term effects were noticeable. So it'll be awesome.
Most definitely, man. Most definitely.
All right, brother. Well, I won't keep you on here, and because I know it's super late for you, but I want to thank you again for coming on and doing this with me. And yeah, I think we're just scratching the surface of what's possible here. Like, this is new school, fucking crazy black magic shit. You know, like we've learned the old school stuff. You know, like we've taken what we can take from the old school techniques, and they're effective, and we've utilized them, and you can see that in our daily lives that these practices are effective. You know, so now it's time to develop some new shit. You know, we have the benefit of technology and the internet and everything else to connect to each other and collaborate. So there's no reason that our generation of magicians should not blow this out of the fucking water further than it's ever been. So that's what I'm working towards here. That's what you're working towards. That's what we're all working towards. And it's a beautiful thing.
Agreed, man. 100%.
All right, brother. Well, we love you. And I'm going to go ahead and stop recording here and let you get on with your day, and just keep me posted on how you're doing, brother.
Yeah, we'll do, man. Thank you.
All right. Sounds good.